Hello, friend. I'm not just talking to the whole world, I'm talking to you. I'm Justy. I'm a cult survivor and a cult thriver. Actually, an ex-cult thriver. Um, so today I wanted to talk with you and see what I want to say about this quote that inspired me for years. And this is a quote from the movie Braveheart, which came out in 1995, about William Wallace, a freedom fighter in Scotland. And I was really into that movie, and I copied down a quote and wrote it on an index card with a blue magic marker and put it in this little basket I had of index cards that were inspiring to me. And at this time, I was still in the cult of my birth, which is called the Light. I was yet to realize that I needed to leave it, though I was beginning to have some doubts about it, more doubts about it. The quote is, when William Wallace was a young boy, his father died. I believe it was from injuries from a war. And they show his father lying on his deathbed, turning his face towards his young son and saying, and I don't have a good Scottish brogue, and I know that, "Your heart is free. Have the courage to follow it." And that just resonated for me. Somehow I knew that my heart was free, and yet somehow I didn't seem to have the courage to follow it. And somehow I didn't even know what my heart really wanted. It just wanted more. And I wanted to be free. I've thought about this quote recently and how I would take it further, because it's not just about having the courage. You could have the courage to take a leap, and yet what's going to happen after you leap? You're going to need support. You're going to need safety. You're going to need to grow. I did have the courage to leap and jump out of that cult, and I did not know what the heck I was jumping into. I didn't even really know what I was jumping out of. I didn't really know if I was going to suffer terribly as a result of that choice, if they were right. I thought there was a 52% chance that they were wrong, that I would not suffer terribly from leaving the cult. And, a 48% chance that maybe they were right, and I was really gonna suffer, and I was not only in this world but afterwards. But I took the chance, and I really did not know who was going to support me except for a couple of friends. Someone told me it was time to start therapy, and so I did. I had never done therapy. People in the Light did not go to therapists. We talked to senior people in our religion. So I started to explain everything, and I felt that I was just explaining things to somebody who didn't really get it. A safe space is where you're really seen, really heard, really understood, really held, really respected, really admired, resourced to be in your wiser, stronger, resourceful self. It took a long time to find people who could really do that for me. My self-esteem took a beating when I left the Light. A lot of fear and shame came up. Shame about being in a cult, I've mentioned this before. And shame that I left it. I didn't want to see anyone who was still in it. I think I still had some shame there before their eyes, because I was the fallen person. I was the black sheep. So I definitely needed a safe space, but I needed more than that. My heart wanted to be free, and I didn't even really know what I wanted for myself for the second half of my life. I did not know. And why? Because I had been so trained. My brain had been so trained to what I should want, what I should do, who I am to be, what my dreams and goals should be, which were all inside of that religion. I did have some in the fitness field, but they were kind of verboten, so I kept them to myself, and I knew there was only so far I could get. in that field. I was not going to be a leader. I was not going to be famous. I was not going to change thousands of lives. You know, I was going to have a small life, and I was going to have to keep it on the down low exactly how much fitness training I was doing, because I did do a triathlon and only one person came to it, and she was a woman not in the light who was one of my clients and person in my class, because I didn't share that part of me with people in the religion. It was frowned on. That would be going to an extreme, not being moderate. The kind of training I was doing, it would be, you know, self-centered to be competing even. So who did I want to be? I did not know. And this is what I understand about those of you who have come out of a controlling cult or religion. You may have a deep longing. Let me know if this is true for you. A deep longing to be more, to do more, to accomplish more, to make a difference for others, and yet not knowing what that could look like, or even who am I to think I could. And not knowing what that could look like. The possibilities may have been cut off. So this is also what somebody like this needs to follow your heart, to have the courage to follow it, needs some cultivation of what that even means to follow my heart. I found that I could just take one little step on the cobblestone path in the dark and not really know what was around the other bend. And I'm still in that to some degree. I really am. I'm making these videos and I do not know exactly where this is all going, though I do have a lot more clear-cut possibilities in my mind right now and goals. And that's because I've gotten the support from people who know how to hold that space and who know how to help me break through my own blindness about my own possibilities. People who can see me for what I could be, not just for what I am and what I was. That's unusual. People who can see you for what you can be and what you will be, not just for what you look like right now, what you've done so far, and who you were, worst of all. That's the beginning of it. Also, to be able to grow, a growth container. We have possibilities. Now, how do we get to brass tacks and turn this into actually reaching some of these, or one of these visions? We need to grow into the person who can be and do those things. How do we do that? We need people in our field who can keep us in a growth container, who can keep us in a growth mindset, that things are an opportunity, that more is possible than I could have ever thought. And if someone else can learn this, so can I. So many of those opportunities and possibilities I discounted from myself. I thought I was different. I wouldn't have consciously necessarily told you that I thought I was different, but deep down inside, in the underbelly, I was different. I didn't really deserve the success that you had. I thought that life was going to be a catch-22. Even after I left the cult, I carried along this catch-22, no-win sort of dread. Like, oh yeah, sure, you can try that. Good luck with that. How's that working for you? That kind of talk. And then even when I learned not to say that to myself, because yes, people taught me don't have negative self-talk, it still was even underneath that, having me just not really believe that it was possible for me. So I know that there's a lot involved in having the courage to follow it. It sounds simple, but there's a lot of support that is needed, and believing that that support is available. Believing that if I make a stand and put my stake in the ground, life will support me. That's a big trust. That's a big trust. I've been cultivating that for 22 years. And sure, there's more to cultivate in that area, but it's growing. And because I'm surrounding myself with people who also have that trust and who can help spot it when I am doubting it and help me to see myself. One of the growth edges is learning self-leadership, to lead myself out of when I have that limited thought process, that fixed mindset that says I can't, or it's not possible, it's too hard, not me, I don't deserve it, it's a no-win, it's too late, you know those things. To spot that in myself when it's arising, even as a feeling like, ooh, what's this about? And then to lead myself out of that into a growth mindset. And I am practicing that now, and I'm really grateful for it because that's what's getting me out here with these YouTube videos and Instagram, because I'm posting it on Instagram. And more is coming. More is coming. This is just the beginning. I am building a community of people who want to make a difference for those who have come out of controlling cults and religions to know and understand that you have freedom, that your heart is free, and to have the courage to follow it, and to have the support to do it, to step into it, step by step. So that's what I have for you today. I'm Justy, cult survivor and cult thriver, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and your own experience and what you want to talk about here. Bye.